This is Kingston Live. We last sat down with singer-songwriters Ciara Roberts and Ray Corcoran in the fall of 2020. We met up at Skeleton Park and talked about the start of their journey as indie outfit Tiny Horse. And right from the start, their music towed the line between sincere introspection and playful humor, all set to catchy melodies and rich harmonies.
But I'm shook. I never really understood what it was that I was running after. Shook. Hope you find someone who treats you good.
It was the middle of the pandemic, but they were eager to share what they'd made. Since that day in the park, the duo have earned themselves a reputation not only as skilled songwriters, but as lively performers who treated every stage and every show like it was a career-defining moment. Before long, Tiny Horse had grown into a quartet and hit the road, collecting fans from city to city and releasing a steady flow of tracks.
I'm at 1% tired. Never been so tired, but the tank is empty. Would you come and get me?
Almost 4 years later, they're still the same band we sat down with in the park. But Ciara and Ray have further refined the wit and musicality that fans love them for. And they're bringing it in full form on their forthcoming debut record, First Rodeo. Today we sit down with Ciara and Ray to discuss their journey, their writing, and what they have on the horizon. Questions. It's all pretty bilateral.
Yeah, let's chit chat.
I love this. This is great.
Yes, let's have a discussion.
Chinwag.
Yeah.
It's a great term.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Hello, I am Johnny Sand.
I'm Riley Jabour.
This is Kingston Live. We are joined by half of Tiny Horse. It used to be 100% of Tiny Horse was these two people in front of me. We have Ray Corcoran.
Hello.
Ciara Roberts.
Hello. Thanks for saying it right.
Actually, I was going to say, I don't think there's any sort of dispute about this locally, but I think when it was, you were featured on the CBC, some people say Tiny Horse.
We were just talking about this.
Excellent.
The emphasis.
I just thought we'd set the record straight before we go any further.
Tiny Horse.
Our band is called, we're Tiny Horse, but whenever we're on stage, people say, Tiny Horse.
The emphasis on
This
horse
is
afterwards
Tiny
makes
Horse.
it sound like
Tiny
you are
Horse.
bringing out an animal.
Did you ever see that clip of Dave Grohl talking about Christopher Walken on Saturday Night Live? Walken was introducing them, and he said, do you stress the Foo or the Fighters? And of course, it's Foo Fighters, but Dave told him it's the Fighters because he wanted him to say it. So, of course, he goes out there, ladies and gentlemen, Foo Fighters.
Fighters. Yeah.
Fighters.
Oh, that's good.
I know.
So,
I know.
We didn't anticipate that. But
No, we
it's
didn't.
Tiny Horse.
Tiny Horse.
Tiny Horse.
Tiny Horse.
Excellent. Welcome back.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's been very gratifying to see the growth of this band since it was almost 4 years ago.
We were barely even a band, and Reed had us. He asked us to be on the podcast, and we're like, oh, heck yeah. This is legit.
Someone wants to listen to us?
That was in the podcast's outdoor phase during
Yeah.
COVID, where we did a lot of which I really enjoyed, the outdoor podcast.
Yeah, that might have been one of the most fun recording sessions we've ever had, just hanging out in Skeleton Park.
Park,
and
yeah.
That
It
was
was like
so
a little
nice.
picnic.
And all those kids going bananas in the
Oh,
the
yeah.
playground.
Just screams behind us while we sang. Rodeo
Yeah.
or Pink Lemonade.
It was like
or
our first
something.
performance, actually.
I think it was. It was definitely one of them.
Yeah. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. No, thank you. Yeah, because
You
we
took us
were
seriously
on.
before we took ourselves
Yes.
seriously, so
Yeah,
that was
that's
really
Well,
huge.
I actually re-listened to the podcast earlier today, just in
Good research.
anticipation of this. Yeah, and it was really neat because you did really have this sort of nonchalant kind of attitude toward the band at the time. It was like, oh yeah, we write songs. We're Tiny Horse, by the way. And the band has grown. The band has had a lot of success in the last 3-4 years.
You are now
Yeah.
a medium-sized horse.
We're now
Yes,
a medium size.
we
Yeah, we're the
are.
medium hot cousin right now. So watch out.
Yeah. Yeah, bringing in Harvey on drums and Harvey Dolphin, shout out.
Shout out.
Mm-hmm.
And Julia Beatty on keys. So nice. This is what we wanted. We wanted like a full band sound. So finding like the right people was not as hard as we thought, really.
No, we knew them all.
We knew them
for
all.
our whole lives. So.
Yeah, we kind of like had an idea of like what we wanted, and then we just kind of reached out to those guys, and they were both down, ecstatic, basically, to join. Just to do something different. Like, I know Julia hadn't been doing anything for a while. Like, that was like kind of musically fulfilling. Like, she was doing a lot of like solo-y stuff, but she'd had like a baby and was taking a bit of a break.
Musically fulfilling.
Sorry, Julia. No, fulfilling in other ways. But
Yeah,
like,
totally.
she was like itching to get back out there and play again. And then Harvey was doing like a bunch of music-y stuff, and like they were having like Sunday fun days where they would just jam, and it would just be random musicians all getting together and playing. And he was in like a couple bands throughout the years. Like, he was in The Relative, and I think he played with Frank Ryan a little bit. Mm-hmm. So asking him to just kind of join, and we didn't really know what was going to happen, and we didn't have any money to pay anybody. We're like,
Don't
well,
tell
you just.
them that.
Oh wait, we're very rich.
We're very rich.
Very rich.
We have
ladies.
Gucci purses. And
No, we have no money.
in the past 12 months, I feel like we worked in isolation and kind of nonchalantly for a while. But I feel like we just kind of tried to get really good at writing the songs and then building the band and kind of like coming out and actually having like well-produced singles and things like that. The momentum that we've gained in the past year has been so incredible.
Yeah, we
and
couldn't have
we're
asked for more, really. We didn't really know. We don't know what we're doing, but we're doing it.
Exactly what we're doing. Yeah.
Well, just as a fan and someone that has been following the band since its inception, since day one, since you're on the
day one.
podcast.
Literally,
yes.
yeah.
No, it's been so gratifying, especially in the last year or so. Like the music video last year and the video showcase, was the People's Choice Award? Which one was it?
Yeah, we won People's
Yeah.
Choice for the
Yeah.
girls.
Yeah, I was at the sold out show at Blue Martini.
Nice.
That was fantastic. And then, of course, opening for the Suns on New Year's Eve.
Totally.
So many highlights.
Yeah, it's been
We
an
couldn't even
incredible year.
believe, like, I don't even know what to say about that, because it was just like a whirlwind, truly.
We'd gone from we played a lot of like backyard shows, a lot of weird Toronto shows like on just streets into like one microphone. Like, we'd never had a sound system where you could even hear what we like sounded like, which is important. But yeah, getting to play like it was like to 5,000 people. It was such a strange experience because it was so much larger, like times 10 to anything we'd ever played, basically.
I've never done anything like that.
It was the least nervous we'd ever been for a show.
Really?
yeah,
Which is
It's-
bizarre, but we were so
makes no
prepared.
sense.
The set was only, I think it was 8 songs, and normally we have to play between like 14 and 15, which 3 or 4 of those are going to probably suck. You haven't practiced them enough, right? But it was like 8 songs. They were so tight. We like just put so much into it. And then like we were backstage before the show. Ray and I did like, I have headspace. We did like a meditation. Yeah. We're just like, be calm. And I just remember being on stage and feeling confident,
Yeah.
which is so weird for your biggest show to be like, hell yeah, let's do it.
Because you don't know how you're going to feel. Like, we had no idea what to expect for that show. And we were just kind of like, we were doubling up on practices. Like, we were just getting everything super tight. And
It's also in the middle of Christmas, so like you don't see any of your band members for like whatever 5 or 6 days because people have to like enjoy their families and stuff, and then you get together and you're like, oh my god,
like,
do you know what you're doing?
Yeah. Are you guys okay? What are you wearing?
Yeah, what are we wearing? But I just remember we got on stage, and Ray is always kind of our dynamic is. I feel like people think that I wouldn't be that nervous because when I'm on stage, I don't seem that. I'm always so terrified before we go on stage. Ray is cool as a cucumber. We go on stage and we open with Pink Lemonade, and I just looked over at Ray, and there was like all these amazing lights. Like the Glorious Sons were like so gracious to us, and like they turned down the lights. They made it like really feel like kind of like the show was starting. Sometimes opening acts, it's like the lights are all up and no one's listening. It was like the show was happening, and there was just like this like light beam that hit Ray, and we had like these like cool outfits, and it literally felt like A Star Is Born. I'm like looking over at Ray, and I'm like, holy shit, we're doing it! Like,
doing it.
Let's go. We drank Pink Lemonade.
That's
baby.
how it felt to me. I felt so present. Like,
Yeah,
I feel like a lot
super
of the
present.
time we play shows and it's kind of hectic, and whatever, you're traveling somewhere or whatever, it's been a day, and then you get there and you kind of just do the show and you kind of snap out of it and you're like, oh my God, we did it. And you're going home at that point. And you're just not, it's hard to be present, but we made such an effort to be like, this show is so special, and like
It felt like 42 minutes.
This is like a once in a lifetime opportunity. We may never do this again. Like, who knows what could happen? You could be hit by a bus tomorrow. Like, all of this could end. To just like enjoy it, and I feel like we all really embrace that, and we all have really good memories of that night, and we played our hearts out and just did the best that we could do, and we really practiced. And I've never been so confident for a show, just knowing that like we wrote these songs and we know how to play them.
But it was so fun, and it was like super, obviously like Brett produced a lot of the songs on our upcoming album, and we just asked him if we could open when we found out there was going to be a Kingston show. This is like my greatest piece of advice is you just have to ask people. Like,
Ask people what you want.
tell them what you want, because I feel like a lot of people kind of maybe thought it was, I don't know, like a fluke or like weird that we got that show just because maybe we are
Perhaps
more
jump the
new.
line.
Perhaps
Some
jump the line.
might say.
Some might say, but I think that really we just asked and we felt ready. And I think knowing you're ready and asking when you're ready and then just like showing up is,
Like all you can do.
I don't
really.
know. That's how.
That's it.
Yeah, I think
Right?
that's great advice, even like just outside of music, everything in your life. Just like, can I have this? Yes, no.
Nobody
Worst-
else is gonna know if
Yeah.
you don't say what you want.
The worst anybody can say is no.
Yeah.
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 I think that's kind of like been one of our biggest like hurdles that we've kind of figured out is just like just ask for things, and like what's the worst they're gonna do? Exactly, like say no or just not reply, and then what?
And they do, and it doesn't
And they
matter.
do. I
Who
know, and
cares?
people are a lot of the time they're like they don't get asked that often. That's kind of what Brett said. He was like, people don't ask me to do things
A lot of the time,
So
yeah.
like, it was nice to be wanted, and we.
On that subject, Brett, if you're listening, we would like to have you on the podcast.
Nice. Yeah, totally.
Nice. Yeah, I bet he would come on.
You guys talked about Brett working and producing on a lot of the new record. Let's talk about that because
Nice.
we know that's in
coming down
the
the tubes.
pipeline.
It is.
Yeah.
Can we say the day?
You tell me. You're the band.
Officially, Tiny Horse's first album,
Woo.
Tiny Horse First Rodeo, coming out June 14th, 2024. We're
Hell
very
yeah.
excited. What was your question again? Sorry.
Working
Just
with,
talk about it?
yeah.
Yeah. Tell us about it. Working
Tell
with
us
Brett on the
about
new
Brett
record.
Emmons. I know, he's such a mystery, eh?
Yeah.
He's like the most normal dude you've ever met. He's your uncle.
He's your brother.
He's your dad. He's your girlfriend.
He's your friend. He's your boyfriend.
Yeah.
He's a good guy.
People always want I know. And I feel like before I met Brett, he was like a mystery as well. And I think he's kind of like Kingston folklore at this point. And like,
He is our Mothman.
I know.
Yes.
And he's like,
Good reference.
he's such like a beautiful artist, you know? He's got like this like
He really cares, and he's like,
amazing.
yeah, he's a great lyricist. He's got cool riffs.
Yeah.
He's not afraid to try things out.
My biggest thing, or like our biggest thing working with Brett was I feel like a lot of the time people kind of come into this question being like, did he help you like write the songs? And one thing that like I loved about Brett, and I was also almost a little bit surprised, was that he had almost no feedback for our lyrics. Like he was super respectful and like liked them and appreciated them and didn't really have any feedback for what we were saying. I feel like what really surprised me about him was he's got this ability to like hear something small and just be like, this is where it's going to go, or this is what it's going to become. And he really challenged us as musicians, as opposed to like as lyricists. Like he challenged us as musicians to be like, the song's great. Where's the lick? Where's the catch? Where's the switch up?
Our
Like
songs are like 3 chords. So
Yeah.
he's like, try this, do this. I feel like I became a better guitar player.
Yeah, he made like Ray's got this
He forced
amazing
me
strum.
to, he forced me to just add some new things in and
play
don't be
harder, play with a pick,
Yeah.
like simple kind of things.
Yeah.
Or as like me doing like the electric licks, like he was like, okay, what do you have for this section? And I'm like, literally nothing. And we kind of come up with these weird little like, which has kind of become a lot of like our music where it's like these like hammer on, which is cool. Like now it's kind of part of this album
Yeah,
is like
it's
these
got a
weird,
sound.
and it's not hard or it's not like incredible guitar playing, but it's,
What solo?
the Kiss Me solo.
The Kiss Me solo at the end. Ciara just like it was like a day working at the studio at Brett's house when we were recording, and you just nailed it. I feel like you did it in like one take, and it was like the coolest. At least that's how I remember.
Yeah.
But you just like crushed out this cool guitar.
We don't have a lot of
part.
guitar solos, and it was 1:00 in the morning. I was literally asleep, and Brett's like, "Ciara, get up. We
You're
need a
up."
guitar solo." And I'm like, I actually just put on the headphones like this, and was just joking around. And I don't know, it was like one of these weird musical experiences where I could actually like, I ripped a guitar solo, and it's not incredible, but it's cool. And if you listen to Kiss Me, like whatever, the last 40 seconds of it, or this crazy ass guitar solo that literally he was just like, go, do something, go. And one of my favorite things about Ray is Ray thinks that there's no mistakes on the guitar. Like you can just if you hit the wrong note, hit it harder. And it just becomes like very like Big Thief, Adrian Lanker.
Yeah, mean it. If you're going to do it, just fucking do it.
Hit it.
Yeah, hit it. Like there's no wrong. Because you meant to do it. It's your solo. Nobody else knows the song. Just go for it. If you're confident, it sounds right.
One of the biggest things we took from him was like he's such a creative person. Like he's unbelievably creative. He's got endless energy. Like you've worked for like 10 or 12 hours on a song and he's like, let's go. Like he keeps you, he's like a softball coach. He's like, come on, keep going. You got it. Like,
yeah, he's like, we're not done yet.
We're not done yet. Yeah.
It's like half of us are asleep on the couch and he's like, all right, you're up. Let's go. We're doing harmonies now. It's like 3 a.m. It's like, let's go.
Which is such a different part of being a musician. Like, I think that a lot of the time, especially us, like as like writers, like I feel like writing the actual lyrics for us feels like a lot of the time the most important part. And I think in our music, the lyrics for me are always going to be the most important part. But I think I love Brett for being able to respect that these are such lyric-based songs and like sort of like singer-songwriter songs, but then also kind of just be like, yeah, but like give it the same amount of love with the words into the music, which was something I don't think we were really thinking as much about before.
Even though we did want the songs to be bigger and we wanted like full band songs.
We weren't doing it.
Yeah. And we didn't understand how to do it.
Yeah.
So we had to kind of be pushed. So it's like, that's what we want. So it's like, all right, well, we're going to do it now.
One of my favorite memories of making this album was we were doing Don't Go, which is kind of like a bit more of like a ballad piece. And Harvey's got this kind of like really cool, tight hi-hat drum thing going on. And we were transitioning into the bridge and we needed something to kind of split it up. And Brett literally gets on the microphone and he's like looking around the room and he grabs this lamp that has like these crystals all around it. And he's like, let's try this. And he takes like a drumstick or something and he's like going around the lamp, brushing these crystals, and it's making this weird sound. And then he gets on the mic and he's like this gray noise. He turns into Brian Eno for about 45 minutes. And then we just slap a bunch of reverb on it.
Oh, so
we got to give a shout out to Steve because Steve's our sound engineer and he's so lovely to work with too. But Steve just like takes all these strange sounds, puts them into Logic, and it comes out as like, I don't know. We have like a soundscape at the end of Don't Go that is...
It's like literally Brett just being like...
It's literally Brett
making mouth
breathing
noises
into the microphone.
With
it's
a
amazing.
lamp.
Don't go. If you gotta go, you gotta go. Don't go. Don't go.
And it's so creative and like beautiful, and we didn't ask him to do any of that. And he's just like, hang on, I got something.
Yeah, like he has so many ideas.
Yeah.
He's not afraid to like just
he's weird.
Share his like weird ideas, and they're always cool. And like, I don't know. He's got so much to give. He was really fun to work with.
Yeah.
He brought a lot to the table. And
long story short, fun to work with.
Fun to work with.
So
like,
nice.
Heart of gold.
Yeah.
I couldn't say more nice things about Brett. I love that man.
Those are always my favorite stories to find out about, like a great song, like years later. Is like, oh, what is that noise? And you find out it's like a matchbook somebody's shaking in the background. Like stuff like that it adds this whole new layer of lore to a song and makes it that much more enjoyable to a whole other level, you know?
Totally. Even just like listening to songs as like a music lover, I'm like, you're trying to recreate things and you're like, you have no idea what they were doing in the studio.
Yeah.
Like there's some weird shit that goes
People
on.
are just breathing into the microphones at different...
Yeah. Oh, it's like, you don't even know. Nothing is what it seems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to go back to talking about the band and the music because there's
Yeah.
something very unique with what you do. And Riley Jabour and I were talking about this before you came in and trying to figure out what is Tiny Horse. And we were thinking it's not so much the sound of the band, it's like the personality of the band. There's something very unique and idiosyncratic happening here.
Ooh. Idiosyncratic.
Wow, I like that.
What's that, man?
You can just go with unique.
Yeah, unique. Nice. Mm-hmm.
We're trying to be different. I don't know. We just are who we are. That's
No,
not
I think
good
that's
enough,
what it is,
but-
though. No, I think it's
Yeah.
just the personalities coming out. And I think it speaks to the value of collaboration to a certain
Yeah.
degree as well. Because
Cool.
we've seen you both, on other projects and doing solo things. But when you got together,
Yeah.
it just became more than the sum of its parts. And then you throw Julia and Harvey into the mix. And, of course, Brett. And it just keeps growing.
Yeah. One thing that I love about Tiny Horse is that Ray had obviously been writing songs for so many years before this had happened. And I feel like when I met Ray, I had written songs, but they were always like musical SpongeBob SquarePants cheese. Like it was not like I knew I could kind of like formulate a song, but it never felt kind of real. I think my favorite part of Tiny Horse, especially with this album, is that like I literally got to work with my two favorite songwriters of all time, Ray Corcoran and Brett Emmons,
Aw.
which is so nice. And but I actually think that's why a lot of our songs turn out so cool, because Ray and I come from such different backgrounds. We're such different personalities. I didn't think that it would show up that much, but I think that it is pretty freaking obvious when you listen to our songs. But I think that kind of, like that collaboration piece and that mix of you and I and like our writing and our perspectives and our attitudes and like
I feel like our whole relationship is a very like yin and yang.
super yin and yang.
Like
yeah.
we're very opposite in a lot of ways, and
Yeah.
that's kind of what we bring to the table to the band.
Very complimentary.
Yeah, it just works out in like a weird way. It's like you can't explain it, but it's just
And if you take something, like sometimes I'll
things
not
that
to,
I lack.
not to pinpoint us,
yeah.
because I feel like sometimes maybe I'll write like kind of like a bit of a funny line, and then Ray will come in with this like beautiful, cool, interesting melody and like end to that line. I actually feel like when we write something together, it turns out a lot cooler than it
a lot
would.
better
A
if
lot
it was
better.
just sing like us doing it solo.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about anytime I write a song. I just don't think like the way that you were saying how when you first started writing music, like
Yeah.
it just didn't sound like a real song. Like I always felt like that until I started writing with you, to the point of like it doesn't feel like a real song until I like bring you in and be like,
Yeah.
you need to fix this.
Add
like
it, yeah.
add something to this. Like this
Make
is
it better.
This needs something. Like it's not a real song until you're on it.
I feel the exact
You
same
add a
way.
lot to it that I don't even think about. I find it hard to work with other people musically, and like I'm not a confrontational person, and I find it hard to tell people that I don't like their ideas.
Or kind of get your idea in there maybe, or
Yeah, like that too.
yeah.
I don't feel like that with you.
No, I don't feel that way with you
Yeah.
at all. I love it. I live for a moment when I've written maybe a line or two and I'm like, what did you hear?
Yeah.
And oftentimes it's just like the other person changing like a word or something. Like it can,
it's so simple sometimes. You're like, oh, why didn't I think of that? Mm-hmm. But it's like you needed to come in to give that, whatever it was, like the smallest little thing.
do you guys find, okay, because you guys are a collaboration as well, like sometimes it's hard to like something that you've made individually. Like it feels like almost cocky or like,
Like you're too close to it?
yeah, it just feels like it'd be a little bit too proud to be like, oh, this is sweet. But like I feel like when it's two of us, like I'm like, oh, you gotta hear what we just did. Like it's almost easier to like something that's like a collaboration.
Is it
or-
that it
Yeah.
doesn't feel as selfish?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't
that
feel
what it
self-
is?
it doesn't feel
That's
as
I feel like there's also like an element of like surprise in collaboration too, where like if you put something out, if you like any piece of content you create yourself, you're like, I made this whole thing. I know every piece of this. But like a little bit of collaboration, you're like, oh, like I thought of this. And then like the other party had this other idea that took it in this whole other direction where like you get to enjoy it too, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's definitely part of it. I like that. I've never really thought of it like that, but that makes a lot of sense. It's like I find it just hard to promote myself, but when it's like with the band, it's like we're all in this together.
Maybe it's a matter of being involved enough that you have stake in it, but also being detached enough that you can push it and you can offer it to other people.
I think
Yeah,
that's
brilliant.
exactly it,
Yeah.
actually. Totally.
Wow. Yeah, that's it.
Cool.
That's
Okay.
why you
Solved.
use big words like
See?
idiosyncratic.
Yeah.
Idiosyncratic.
Well, as
Really?
idiosyncratic as this band is, and as unique its collaboration, this band seems to have very broad appeal too.
I think that it was kind of surprising to see how many people like connected to it and liked it. But I think that what we're doing, like, I don't think that we're reinventing the wheel with Tiny Horse. Like, I think that we're actually kind of doing. I feel like when I'm always trying to describe it, I'm like, I feel like it does have such broad appeal because it is like easy listening music. Like it's not super one genre. And I know that like right now when people are like, what is it? Or when we apply to things, it's like, oh, we're like alternative music. But really it feels like it's like soft rock or something like that. I feel like we have like a lot of influences from like 60s, 70s, 90s music. And I think because of that, or just because it's not so hyper pop, hyper rock, it's like normal music, you know? Like it's normal, good music.
Yeah, we're like, where do we sit? Because it's not one thing or another. It's kind of...
As an observer, I feel like it's accessible, but there's something about it that still feels fresh, despite those influences that you mentioned.
Cool. Yeah. Which I like that. I think that one time Brett described us as like Mick Jagger and John Mellencamp in like modern day. And I'm like, that's cool. Like, that's like, I mean, it's a very nice compliment as well. I think it's got like these touches of like nostalgic music. And then, oh God, this is a bad answer. Sorry, guys. And I'm sucking.
I think you really hit the nail on the head.
It's hard to describe it. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think you talked about like it's not hyper pop or it's not like and all of the. I feel like where we are now musically as like a culture is everything is so accessible because we have like instant access to so much. Like music constantly just at our fingertips through cell phones and Spotify and all that jazz, that like everything is so hyper specified, all these like super niche genres of like, this is Norwegian pirate metal. And it's like, that doesn't super need to exist. You can just call it metal. You don't need to tell me the songs are about pirates.
Yeah. Like all the labels. Yeah.
Yeah. But you guys write just music that is good and enjoyable and the vibes are immaculate.
Nice. Okay.
Thank you. Nicely said. Wow, you brought it back.
Thank you.
Thank you. We need that.
In there.
Yeah.
But one thing I do love is that, like, I feel like we have a large contingent of, like, people sort of, like, more like our parents' age or just, like, people that maybe wouldn't necessarily always be coming out
like,
to, like,
who is
a
your
lot of
audience?
shows. Yeah, great question.
That's the big question, I think.
I don't know. I feel like people are always like, oh, it's 25 to 35-year-old women. And I'm like, is it? Because there are a lot of 40-year-old golfers and 6-year-olds that are
singing our songs.
sending us videos of them singing along to our songs. So.
It's confusing. We don't know.
I don't know. I think our audience is...
I don't think it matters who your audience is,
cool.
but I think if you were to try to pinpoint it, you couldn't.
Yes,
I know.
I think that's the beauty of it.
One really weird thing that I've kind of loved is how much kids can remember the songs and like latch onto them. Like Ray has a lot of nieces and nephews, and my sisters are both teachers, and so they're kind of like sharing our music, and we get like a lot of
little children
being like, I haven't done drugs in a long time.
And my 2-year-old nephew is really obsessed with Don't Go.
Yeah.
So we get a lot of videos of him singing that, and we're just like dying because it's such an emotional song.
Such a
and
dark
he's just
emotional song, yeah.
I haven't done drugs in a long time. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm glad you guys are okay with him hearing this. They're like, oh, it's fine. It's cute.
But I think there's also something to like, we're not trying to take ourselves too seriously. We're trying to like put on a good show. Mm-hmm. Like I like come from like a big like theater background. Like I live for just a good musical. I don't know. You show up and it's like something interesting happens and it's fun and it's like a cabaret. Like basically we just want to be Liza Minnelli and cabaret for anyone who wants to see it, whether you're 6 years old or 60 years old.
We're putting on a show. We are a live band. We love, that's like our bread and butter. We want to play live. We want you to remember the show.
I think that everybody likes to have a good time.
Yeah.
And I feel like our songs have things that a lot of people can latch on to. And it's a lot of stories and characters. Yeah. Like, it's like we're writing about, like...
people that we've met, people that we love.
Oftentimes we're not writing about, like, just Ray and I singing about our lives. We're writing about, like, from the perspectives of different people. So I think that kind of, like, helps draw people into, so...
You talked about your onstage performance and the broad appeal of like all of your shows, and you guys were one of my standout performances that I absolutely loved at Back to the Farm last year.
Oh, nice.
And I feel like Back to the Farm is such an incredible smattering of people because it's many, many thousands of people. Yeah. And then it's, you know, there are 6-year-olds, there's children there, which I saw dancing around and singing to your songs. But there's also like, I know people that brought their grandparents to that festival and they were having an equally killer time. And I feel like that is something that really speaks to the power of the band, is how great you guys stand out out in such a wide smattering of music, like a music festival, where, oh, this is the band you got to pay attention to. This is the band, and that's not to bury anybody else that was on the bill, but really like stands out and makes the stage kind of your own in a way.
Nice.
That's really nice.
I think, yeah, a lot of it. That's really nice. Holy Riley, thank you. Sometimes we think that like you maybe stop listening to music or you get stuck in like your music habits as you get older, or you kind of have your favorites. But I think that we're not underestimating anyone in their ability to hear something that they like and want to see it. And I think that we want someone who maybe hasn't been to a show in a while to hear it and be like, oh, this reminds me of one of my favorites or something like that, and kind of want to come out. But I think all of us here are like huge music lovers. So your whole life, you're always listening and hearing new things that you love. And yeah, I want to be one of those bands that you hear and you're like, hell yeah, let's go see that.
Yeah.
Having said that, we're going to play a track. We're going to drop a track into the podcast.
Sick. Thank you.
Yes.
Ooh. What is it?
Kiss Me.
Oh, it's Kiss Me. Nice.
Yes.
Julia.
Sick.
Just broke up with Jerome. Her eyelashes, they were getting pretty long. She watered them with her tears to Carly Simon songs. All the boys in the band, they wanna be Bruce Springsteen. But all those silly fellas know all the good tunes are made in the 60s. And you like to pretend I'm such a mystery. But all I ever want you to do is just to kiss me. Kiss me. Kiss me. Sebastian, please sing along. You can kiss this girl all night long. Kiss me. I find myself screaming at your ghost. Even though you're still alive, I think about your death the most. And I'm looking for things I haven't lost. I tried to go to therapy until I saw how much it cost. All the boys in the band, they wanna be Bruce Springsteen. But don't those silly fellas know all the good tunes are made in the 60s. And you like to pretend I'm such a mystery. I'm not, she's not. When all I ever want you to do is just to kiss me. Kiss me. Kiss me. Sebastian, are you singing along? You can kiss this girl all night long. Kiss me. So come on, girl, you got my permission. While we talking, we should be kissing. Oh, this is just my love. Come on, girl, and pucker up. Ooh! Thanks, Lynn. Dad. Will you be my man? Okay. Hey! Kiss me. Kiss me. Kiss me.
Thank you for listening to Kingston Live. For more great Kingston music, check out the Kingston Live playlist on Spotify. If you're enjoying this podcast, please share it, tell a friend, or subscribe on your platform of choice. For show listings, artist info, and all things Kingston music, check out kingstonlive.ca.
Let's talk about the sort of video, maybe not video for that song.
We were trying to figure this out before you came in.
Yeah, because there's clips online, but we haven't found all of the clips together in one full unit. What?
And you shan't.
And you will never.
And you shan't.
Or at least not now.
No.
Not yet.
So for the Kiss Me music video, we basically, it was last summer, we kind of did an open call for anybody who wanted to come in and kiss
someone.
in whatever way they wanted. You could kiss a family member, a friend, like a friend, a lover, an aunt, like yourself if you're creative, whatever.
Yeah.
Originally, the plan was to make it like a full-blown music video, but we just we ended up turning it into just, what are they called in the industry? It's called visuals. It was visuals for the single. So these were our visuals. So it's kind of like our loop on like our Spotify, and then we just use it as promo. Because God bless the music video. I love a music video. I work in video. Ray and I watch music videos.
I love music videos.
Every Friday night, but it's a lot to put into a music video. And so anyway, we kind of shot that portion of it, and then
We kind of pushed that song. Like, we were going to release Kiss Me last September or October, and then we pushed it because we just released it. Like, that was our latest release. So we were like, oh, like all gung-ho, and then we ended up getting back into the studio. Is that what happened? And then
re-recording it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we just didn't. We just like sat on all of that video for like so long, and we're like, what are we going to do with this song? Are we even going to release it? Are we going to do anything with it? We kind of just like fell out of love with Kiss Me for a while, and we're really doubting that song for whatever reason. I don't even know what happened or why that happened. But we were just like, no, we're not going to release it. We're not going to do anything with it. And then just a couple months ago, we kind of like found a new love for it, re-recorded it with Brett. And we're just like, this is a good song. Like, why are we doubting this? And then we just took some of the video and kind of just made it like a little Instagram reels or whatever. But no plans to do like a full music video.
I think we had almost 80 people kind of show up and do this little smooch session, which was awesome. And when we knew we weren't going to be able to fully mount it to like a full video, we still wanted to like do something with it. So obviously it turned into these little clips. But honest to God, if you're a musician out there, you can release these like 20-second clips and people think you have a music video. Like, we tricked you guys.
Yeah.
It's very
sneaky.
Yeah.
Because Riley Jabour said, the video for Kiss Me. I was like, I was trying to find a video, but we couldn't. Yeah. So if you, the listener, if you were as confused as we were, that's okay. Because apparently the video doesn't exist.
Yeah.
No, we do have a music video coming out for one of our upcoming songs, but no, the Kiss Me one, it was just kind of these small. It was for your, it was for your TikTok brand.
We were just talking about festivals before we got into Kiss Me. I know we were just talking about Back to the Farm last year, but I know you've got some festivals even outside of Kingston lined up for this summer. What's on your docket? Tell us about it.
So our big one that we have is Tall Pines Music Festival and the Muskokas, which we're super excited. We've never played that one before. And we're playing that, and it's with July Talk. It's with
Dan Mangan.
It's with City and Color. It's going to be super, super fun. And we've never actually played the Muskokas. So
I've never been there.
Oh my God.
I know.
You're going to love it.
Yeah, you're for a good
Get her an
time.
Adirondack chair, baby. Let's go. So yeah, we've lined that one up, which we're super excited about. And then we're also playing YGK Beer Fest coming up in June, which is going to be fun. A lot of summer shows coming up kind of surrounding the album release. But yeah, Tall Pines is going to be excellent.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very excited for that.
Hell yeah.
Playing festivals is incredible. We had like a couple good experiences last summer where we played like Hillside Festival. It's super cool because you get to meet like all these different musicians. Like, you're kind of all backstage, like in almost like a beer tent basically. But then there's just like Daniel Romano walking around, and it was Will Butler.
We were like coming home after we
this
played our
was
set,
sick.
and we were in an elevator with Will Butler, and it was just like my whole world was made.
Yeah.
And we were like, how was your set?
How's the show? We were playing a show.
And we're
tonight
like,
as well.
and he was like, oh, it went pretty well. I'm like, oh, we would have been there, but our sets were at the same time, which felt so crazy to me. That was such a moment. I was like, this is so cool. Like, how is this happening? He's like, his hotel room is like 3 down from ours. It was just weird. I'm like, are we here? Are we doing it? Like,
yeah, but the festivals are amazing because
Yeah,
you kind of
it's
get
just-
these opportunities to meet like these bigger artists.
just like little moments like that.
Yeah.
Like, that kind of are just exciting for us because we've never.
We got to play a set last summer with Begonia, who's like one of our
Yes.
favorite Canadian artists, and we did like a workshop with her, and it was crazy. Like she was like singing along to our song "Sweet and Sour Chicken," and we're like, "What the heck
Like,
is
what?
going
How are
on?"
we doing? How
So-
are we here? We're on. I've never been so nervous in my whole life than playing
that?
Yes. Oh my! The Sunday Gospel with
Yeah.
Begonia at Hillside. It was crazy.
Yeah,
Because she sang along to our songs, we sang with her to her songs.
yeah. I tried
And
not
we
to
just
sing.
got to like hang out with her. She's like smoking a cigarette before the show, and she's like, "What? Don't be nervous. Like we're all gonna die. Like let's just go for it."
Yeah.
And she's just like chain smoking. I'm like, this is insane. Where are we?
But you were not nervous playing Kingston's
No.
biggest venue.
I don't know. It doesn't
Need
make
to
it
channel
make sense.
some of that energy. Yeah.
It doesn't make. I don't understand when I'm gonna be nervous or not. It just happens.
But we're super excited for Tall Pines. If you're in the Muskokas,
Come on by.
come on by.
Hell yeah, take
Check
a
it
road
out.
trip.
Yeah.
Road trip it.
Going back to Hillside, I'm dropping shit. Anyway. Going back to Hillside, you guys mentioned. I feel like that's one of those really cool festivals where that helps a lot of bands kind of like break out in a way. Like it shows so many. I don't know what it is about it. It shows so many different audiences, so many different bands that are just on that cusp of like breaking out of where they are now and exposing them to new audiences and stuff like that. I feel that as like an outsider, just looking at the lineup and then seeing those bands, you know, a year or two later. Does that energy translate to being on stage there? Do you feel like, oh, hey, new friends sort of thing?
Totally. We were like super lucky to have gotten, I think it was like a Saturday night time slot. So it was like kind of in the when the sun goes down at a festival, it almost shifts a little bit. You're like, okay, here we go. Like what's going to happen? And we played a tent to like, I think it was about 2,000 people, which was crazy because we played Guelph before when there was like maybe like 30 people there sort of thing. So it was amazing to be able to play to that many people to kind of like get into it. And I also think that like these Canadian festivals like Mariposa and Hillside, they have this like, I want to say like clout to it where it's kind of like, sweet, we got to like
got to
I feel
play
like
it.
people really were super impressed that we had been booked for it. And I think that
They're like respected
and gave
festivals.
us like it was almost slightly easier to get like a booking so like in another city because once you like sort of have that on your resume. So yeah, I think it's amazing being able to get into one of those festivals. I also think that the bookers for those shows give acts such opportunity. Like we were applying to these festivals with not that many like listens or not that much kind of momentum or
Yeah,
I
Hillside
don't know,
really brought
following.
us in. We
They
had like
really-
500 listens or something on one of our songs, and they were like,
they just liked the song.
They
and they're
were
like
so-
they
yeah,
treated
they were
us
into
like
it.
they're like they were so excited about our music. Like it was like they made us feel so
we
important.
felt
and
famous in
cool.
Guelph
I
because
know.
they were like, oh my God, Tiny Horse. And we're like, what? How do you know who we are? Like,
I
what?
love.
We don't even have any music out. It
Yeah.
was just very welcoming, and everyone was so nice. It was such a good experience for us. They gave us like an amazing time slot.
I think
People
Kingston's
showed
on
up,
like
so
a good track to be like a big music city, but
Yeah.
Guelph, they're doing something good too. Like we should copy
Underrated.
them a bit as well because Guelph is doing something good.
See, something I've talked about for years now is doing like a dual podcast with somebody, like finding a podcast similar to ours in like another city and having like a, you know, our music city can beat up your music city kind of
Nice, yeah.
discussion, but we
Yeah.
haven't found the right
little
fit
rivalry.
yet. Yeah, but
Go
I'd
for
still
Guelph.
like to do that. Okay, well, I'll see if there's something happening in Guelph.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should actually, that's a great point. We should see if we can get one of the bookers for Hillside on there. Because I feel like I've heard of people kind of compare Hillside and like Wolf Island Music Fest, which like, you know, we don't get currently right now.
I know.
Here's hoping Verge, please. I don't know why I'm praying to Verge, but still up. But like people talk about them almost as like twin festivals in other cities because they have that same vibe. So we should, I don't know. There's something,
They're amazing.
something there.
And they have great taste. You know,
Great
taste.
they listen. Like they actually listen without being kind of like phased by
But like the
all the crap on the internet. You know, they're just
yeah,
like, do I like
the
it? Is it
views
good?
and the listening.
Well, that might be a good segue because we talked a little bit about that before we started rolling about getting the word out and trying to get the music out there. And you were saying that's like actually a bit of a challenge for you despite all this success.
Yeah, totally. Do you want to talk about it?
Oh, you go.
I think that we're so happy, and I feel like we are really loving how we're kind of coming from people coming to our shows, liking our music, sharing our music with other people. Sort of this like organic reach is what we're kind of going after for how our music is spreading. And I feel like a lot of the time when you're trying to be booked for anything, shows, festivals, even just trying to get on someone else's lineup, people always go to your online presence and see like how many followers you have, how many listeners you have. One thing that I think that we almost have like a bit of like a like insecurity about is like we don't have like that huge of like a following or like monthly listeners, or even it's like 3,000 people. I'm like, that's nuts. Like there's 3,000 people that are
huge
like,
for us.
that's crazy. Like what the heck? Or like you play a show and like 400 people show up. Like that's sick, you know? And I think that those are the numbers that actually matter. And I just feel like in kind of like the landscape right now, you feel like a bit inferior or a bit.
It's so hard. It's like an endless climb that we're just at the bottom, like looking up and being like, it's so daunting. How do we just even get like an inch, you know?
Is it possible we're looking at this too myopically? Because we talked earlier about
Johnny Big Words over here.
you got to bring out the $5 words once in a while. What was I saying? Yeah, we were talking about your audience being so broad.
Yeah.
You know, you talk about like little kids. Little kids don't have Instagram.
Totally. Yeah.
Great
Right?
point.
Maybe there's just an audience that we're not seeing. Like we're just looking at it too narrowly, looking through that social media perspective.
Yeah, totally.
Social media just screws everything up. It just messes with your brain.
It's the worst.
It's the worst.
Yeah, and a lot of the time, like we'll be playing with someone that we think is like no shots fired, but like we think is like a lot bigger than us, or has a lot more, like their numbers are so much bigger. But then we play a show with them, and they'll bring significantly less people than we will bring to a show. So I don't know. It's kind of like this weird thing where right now I feel like we are kind of on the right track in that we're. It sounds so stupid, but you know, it's like grassroots. We're just trying to get people to share it with their people. But I actually think that that's how Tiny Horse is going to go, and how Tiny Horse is going to succeed. And it's not going to be like
It's slow growth.
It could be a viral TikTok, but I actually think that we want it to be people listening to it and liking it and wanting to like come to shows or wanting to listen to it multiple times, as opposed to just it being like some 10-second soundbite that's in your head for a week and then you forget about it.
I think that's what you want.
We want to love you.
Yeah.
We don't want to like you, baby. We want to be your loves.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's something to be said for slow incremental growth and growth that you can grow with, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Like you can grow with your audience as opposed to it just shooting through the roof right away and not being prepared for it.
Mm-hmm.
Totally. And I feel like a lot of the times it feels like if you see somebody get big, you're like, oh, like it was like overnight, but it never really is.
No, it never is. Yeah.
And if it is, it's like 15 minutes of fame.
It usually goes away just as quickly. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's such like a mind. It messes with your mind. Social media is just so bad for us all. I think that's the moral of all of that. I wish we could just delete social media.
But
also, please follow Kingston Live on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter.
And Tiny Horse, because we're on everything.
But one thing we kind of wanted to like push, or to like people that listen to this podcast, is obviously it's people that like love music and are listening to sort of these not whatever top 40 sort of voices. And I think that our biggest way that we are shared is when people share our music with other people. So you've got great taste, share it with your friends and your family. Send our songs
That's
if
all
you
we
like
can
them.
ask. And
Please
come to our shows.
The
Come to our
kids will
shows.
love it.
The kids will love it.
Yeah.
And your grandparents.
And your grandparents.
Your aunts, your
And
uncles.
you, whoever.
Your pets.
Whoever you are.
Yeah, your pets, especially your pets.
Put it on repeat on Spotify when you go to work so your pets can listen.
Get our stupid numbers up.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
To switch gears slightly, is there anything about this band that you feel is misunderstood by the
Ooh.
public?
Great question.
Such a good question.
How to pronounce Tiny Horse.
Yeah, we did cover
Tiny
that.
Horse.
Yes.
Tiny
Foo
Horse.
Fighters.
I think like working with Brett and like playing with the Glorious Sons, like a lot of the people might think that our music is going to be maybe more in that realm, like of like this like harder.
Rock.
I don't know. I feel like in Canada, there's kind of like these you got like 3 categories that you can fit into. And I think we've kind of discussed how we're not really fitting into those categories. And I think that working with Brett and being able to like open for the Glorious Sons, and a lot of the time we're maybe associated with them, or like our name is kind of coming up with them a lot. One thing that I love about that band is that there's a lot of breath in what they're doing, and there are kind of these more harder songs, but then you also have these beautiful more pop songs, or these more singer-songwriter folk songs. And we love working with Brett, and like obviously opening for them was like such this incredible thing. But I also feel like there's this part of our band that's like actually kind of like this like pretty queer pop band that is almost like we're not sure if we're getting that audience exactly that we're looking for.
Great point.
We're looking for kind of more of that like queer audience. And I think that a lot of our songs kind of, it's just us singing about it, like whatever, it's like two queer people. So it's, for example, artists that we love are like Chapel Roan. Am I saying it right? Chapel Roan?
Chapel Roan, Boy Genius.
Chapel Roan, Boy Genius. Claro, like all these kind of more indie queer artists. And I feel like because of the people that we work with, whom we love, sometimes we're hitting audiences that maybe aren't exactly that queer audience. And I think like in our breadth of people that we want to reach, we're dying to reach
The gays.
And we're having trouble finding them and hitting that mark.
Is so weird. We kind of thought
Because we're just like little gay cowboys,
yeah,
you know?
we feel so gay, and our audience is not.
Our audience is not gay.
They're all very straight,
Which is totally cool.
Totally great.
Totally cool. It doesn't, because I think that
Doesn't
that's,
matter.
It doesn't matter. But I just feel like a lot of what we're writing for, I'm like, where the hell are you? Like,
Yeah, we're like, it's a back and forth. It's a lot of like love song back and forth between us that seems so obvious to us, but then it's like all these like straight guys.
I know, which anyone can relate to.
Totally,
And that's
which
the
is
beauty
amazing.
That's the beauty of music.
We didn't think that.
We're not looking to pigeonhole ourselves,
Not
but
at
like,
all.
I think somewhere where we feel slightly misunderstood is that we think potentially, you know, a really cool queer Canadian band. I don't know. I feel like that's we're here.
We're here. We're gay.
We're ready.
We're ready.
Yeah.
Please find us.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think that's somewhere maybe that we don't feel misunderstood, but that we haven't feel like we have hit the mark exactly or
Like we
found,
thought we
found
would.
that.
Yeah.
I thought that was where we were going to take off. I just thought that like lesbians were going to cry to our songs all day long, but no.
It has not been the case. I know. It's really weird.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I do see that now that you mention it, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a really good point. Like, I mean, obviously, you know your band well enough to know that point, but it's not something I would like as a straight white guy. I wouldn't have made that like I guess lack of connection there, sort of
I
thing.
feel like people just don't know we're gay.
We're gay.
We're gay.
It's super gay. All the songs are gay.
We just get hit on by straight guys after the show, and we're both like, "Don't you know how gay we are?" We just wrote like all of these songs have just been so
the girls
gay.
are gay. Yeah.
I know. So
Sabrina's gay. Everybody's gay.
everyone's gay, but it's
Maybe that's the next song.
Yeah. Totally be super explicit. But that's not to say that I don't know. I don't feel like we have to be like indie queer artists, but I feel like that's a lot of people that would really like our music that were maybe having trouble reaching or the moment hasn't hit yet.
Okay.
Anyway.
yeah. We also love our audience, and
I know that's not
like
it's not only I know it's kind
we're
of
not griping with that.
Yeah.
we just think it's kind of weird that they haven't found us.
nobody's noticed.
Yeah.
It's kind of
No one's
interesting,
noticing.
like to think of it from a different perspective on that. It's kind of interesting to think about like the people that are finding you that are ordinarily into like some of the harder rock or whatever stuff that you might associate them with. Those are people that you wouldn't really associate as like people listening to queer artists.
Yes.
And it's almost like a sleeper cell sort of thing. Like when they get it, you're going to be like, we just did so much. You grew as a person. Congratulations.
That is kind of nice, actually,
Yeah.
when you say it like that.
And it
That is
doesn't
such a
matter.
good
Like
point.
it's like I feel like
No.
you can listen to so many songs and it's like it doesn't matter what we're writing about, you know?
It's true. You can just however you want to
actually-
interpret it. Like
Part
it's
of me
totally
actually
fine.
really likes it that we're
kind of like incognito. In a weird, but not on purpose. Like we're not. It's like we're trying to do that.
I know. Yeah.
If you've seen any of the Kiss Me clips, I feel like it's very clear what's going on here.
Hello. Yeah.
Maybe you should have released that video.
But oh god, I know. Maybe we wouldn't be talking about this if that were the case.
Is there going to be an album release show in Kingston?
Oh. Rachel Ann?
Yes.
Tell the people.
We're doing 2 nights at the Blue Martini, June 14th and 15th.
We're doing a double header.
Double
and
header.
This is going to be
Friday,
2
Saturday night.
completely different shows, special guests,
Special guests.
merch, surprises,
Openers. Different openers.
It's going to be, there's going to be a ticket that you can get for one night. There's going to be a ticket you can get for 2 nights if you want to come both nights, because we're kind of pitching it as it's the Tiny Horse Weekend. It's,
Different shows, 2 nights. You don't want to miss both. But you can come to one, you can come to the other. lots of different people, special
And yeah,
guests,
it's going to be
lots of songs.
once in a lifetime opportunity happening right here. So June 14th, June 15th, Blue Martini. Get a ticket to one, get a ticket to both. Prepare for
Too
spectacular.
big for one night.
I know. It's too big for one night. Double header.
Yeah, we had to do 2.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
Hell yeah.
Can you tell us who's opening? Has that been established?
No, we can't say that
I
yet.
can't say.
But
Okay.
they're good. Some local, some out of but they're really good. It's also like there's going to be acts and there's going to be more. It's a cabaret, baby.
Okay.
Be prepared.
Lots of surprises.
Yeah.
We have big plans for this.
Well, I'm excited.
Yeah, well, buckle up.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
Yeah. Double header though, so it's going to be sweet.
That'll be dope.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. It's going to be really cool.
Yeah.
So the album's called First Rodeo. If you haven't heard of Tiny Horse or heard of our music, this is kind of like our introduction to you. We're introducing you to our friends. We're introducing you to Ray and I. We're introducing you to the Tiny Horse world. And hello, we're here. Giddy up. Join the rodeo, babies.
Yeah.
We'll see you
Check it out.
on June 14th or 15th, or we have Toronto, Ottawa, Guelph, Windsor dates coming up. So check out our Instagram page
Yep.
at Tiny Horse Music.
Or in Muskoka, see you at Tall Pines.
So see you at Tall Pines, yeah.
Or Beer Fest, YGK Beer Fest. Lots of good stuff coming up.
Awesome.
Woo.
Thanks, guys.
Ciara, Ray, always a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This was nice.
Different than the park. I loved it.
Yeah. Very casual. I like this. Very comfy.
Shout out Reed Cunningham. We love you.
Love you, Reed.
Read.
Good boy.
This has been Kingston Live. We encourage you to rate us on your listening platform of choice and subscribe where possible. For show listings, artist info, and all things Kingston music, check out kingstonlive.ca. Kingston Live was produced in Kingston by Soundwise, hosted by Riley Jabour and John Sanfilippo. Writing and research by Peter Sanfilippo. Executive producer, Rob Howard. Kingston Live is a member of the Canadian Live Music Association. We'd love to hear from you. Email us at podcast@kingstonlive.ca.
Great job.
Great job.
Great job.
A plus,
job,
everybody.
everybody.
Well done. Well done. We did it. Cheers.
Good game. Good game.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.